Hello, is there anybody out there? I'm going to just kind of hang out for a few minutes and give people time to join. I'm a little bit early, but that's okay. Hey, how are you doing? Art and Hugs. Welcome. Going to be real informal today. Just going to answer some questions. Something from the Shed. Hey, welcome, Something from the Shed. Hello, Jeff. How are you doing? Big hello from the UK. Well, hello back to you. It's nice to hear from my brothers across the pond. Can you guys hear me okay? I've got this lapel mic that I'm trying out, and I just want to make sure that you get a good audio. Enjoying a nice Triple X root beer today. It's a good one right here. Hey, Mick, how are you doing? Buenos tardes. I do know that means good afternoon. I'm sorry that I don't know more Spanish. I wish I did, but I don't. It's kind of, I really wish I did, because I can't talk too much about what I do in my work life, but I do spend time in Mexico at one of our Mexico facilities, and you know, I always have to hire a translator, which I wish I spoke the language so that, you know, I didn't have to do that. I could talk directly with the folks I interact with, but that's enough about that. Hear you loud and clear. Thank you, thank you. Do you have any thoughts about youth wood turning? The youngest wood turner in Alabama is 16, and I'm not much older than 18. I think young people would enjoy it more if they tried it. You know, I would agree with you. Wood turning is relatively safe if you follow a few safe rules. My kids started turning, I'm going to guess they were probably 8 years old, and they turned for a while. And then, of course, they got into their teen years, and now they're driving and the cell phones and all of that, and they've kind of lost interest. But the nice thing is, I'm hoping that since I taught them how to do it, it's kind of in their blood, and later on, maybe they'll come back to it, because it's something that they know how to do and they should be comfortable with. Right now, though, just, you know, teenagers, they're their own animal, right? And they're not always interested in what we'd like them to be interested in. Go Boilers, that's right. Those of you who know anything about West Lafayette, Indiana, Purdue University, that's where you get this root beer. I brought a case of it back last time I went up there. There's a little restaurant called the Triple X Cafe, and it's a great place to eat. Any of the athletes from Purdue, like Drew Brees was a Purdue athlete, and he went on to stardom in the NFL, and those athletes come back and they get to invent their own meal. So, you know, there's one guy that invented a hamburger that has peanut butter on it, and Drew Brees, I think he did a breakfast meal, but they get to invent their own meal, and then they name it after them. It's just a little cafe, and it's a fun place to eat. La tiene, a la tiene. I don't know what that means. I'm sorry. I'm terrible. Hello, Bob. Hello, Eric. How are you doing? Yeah, it's great to be here. Larry Anderson. Hello, Larry. Happy Saturday to you, sir. I'm doing great. I am doing wonderful. Yeah, thank you. It's a great day. Struggling to finish pins. Can you do a straight tutorial on CA finish? I've done those before, but you know what? I probably will do another one. If you've been watching the channel, you know I did the sanding video to prep blanks, and I did the drilling video. So at some point in the process, I will do a full-on finishing video. I just haven't quite got there yet. I started kind of at sanding because that's the blank that I had ready to go, and I worked backwards to drilling. I need to go backwards one more and get the initial prep, and then we'll start going forward with the other stuff. So yeah, I think you'll see something like that coming out relatively soon. Let's see. Happy Saturday. Hello, Andrew. Yeah, Andrew. That was for Andrew Tucker. Brandon Hilton. Hey, how are you? Hello, Brandon. I'm doing great. Thank you. I hope you do. Can't wait. Thank you, Jackie. I definitely will. Let's see. Foggy Mountain Workshop. Any updates on the metal lathe? You know, I commented on this in the podcast that we do. Woodworking squirrels is what I call it. You know, I got the lathe, like, ooh, metal lathe, and I go to the metal lathe, and it's like, ooh, bespoke, and then it's like, ooh, fountain pens. I get distracted. I love what I do. I love what I'm doing out here in the shop, and I get distracted so easily. My plan is to get back to the metal lathe. The main reason why I wanted a metal lathe is with doing these bespoke pens, I want to be able to turn custom components for them, bands and clips, and make different things for them. So there will be more projects, but I don't really have anything on tap right now. Right now, I'm kind of working through that series of detailed steps on everything that you know, that you do to prepare a pen, just to kind of beginners, to get the beginners, you know, up to speed and help them kind of understand what's going on. And I don't know how you guys feel about this, but I enjoy doing that, but sometimes I worry because I am lucky that I have a sander like this, right? Not everybody does. I'm lucky that I have a drill press. Not everybody does. So I feel I don't want to feel like, hey, you have to have this to do the job. So I was kind of trying to think how I could handle that. And I may even take it a step farther after I get done, and I may look at going back and trying to do it without any of these tools. But that's down the road. See what I mean? I'm already distracted. We talked about those woodworking squirrels. Turnings by Turner. Hello, howdy. How are you doing? Brett Maples. Hello, Brett. Brett's a good buddy of mine. Let's see. Will you get pictures? You will get pictures. Oh, great. I'd love to see photos of your chaos blank. Larry, thanks a bunch for giving me the direct info on grabbing that sanding jig for the blanks. Oh, you're welcome. So I guess hopefully you've either got it or it's on its way. Greetings from Elvis's birthplace, Tupelo, Mississippi. I haven't been to Tupelo for many years. Do you have any advice on chainsaw bar length? I do not. I do have a chainsaw. Last time I used it was a tornado in about 2004 to help with some clear away after the tornado. I went over and volunteered. It's a 24-inch blade, or 24-inch length bar. I'm not real well versed on those. I'm sorry. Howdy, Bob, from another Bob. Hello, Bob Blakey. Thomas Tate. Hello, Thomas. How are you, man? Good to hear from you. How's your resume coming along? Did it get better? My resume coming along. Did it get better? I don't remember what I was talking about. You might have to refresh my memory. I just made my first inlay. I'd love to see you make more. Oh, there'll be more. It's just a matter of, you know, getting the itch to do it. Resin is what I mean. Oh, how's your, oh, okay. Oh, resin, you mean this blank? Is this the one you're talking about? Bob, you still sell your finished pens? The answer is I don't normally sell finished pens, but I've got a bunch of pens that I have made up, and I just don't need 30-some pens laying around in a case. So I have filmed them all, and I put the video together. I've given each pen a number, and I've got them numbered in the case, so that way we can reference them by number. It's easier. I just need to do some, you know, some spreadsheet work to be able to track, you know, who wants what, and then that video will be out before long. It'll go out on my What You Doing Bob channel. I normally don't post stuff like that on the RJBWoodturner channel. Do you still see? Paul Reese. Hi, Bob. We've been having trouble with my Shallow Wax friction polish, pulling my paper towels apart and leaving junk on my blanks. How do I avoid this? Sounds like it's staying real tacky. Shallow wax is exactly what it says. It's shellac and wax together, and it sounds like it's staying real tacky is why it's pulling the paper towels apart. There's a couple of things. You can either go with shop paper towels, those blue paper towels, which are thicker, or if it's real tacky like that, you might be able to just take a little bit of it and maybe, I don't want to tell you to mix it with anything, but like a little more shellac in there just to kind of wet it up a little bit, which I think you could probably use a little denatured alcohol. You know, so what I'm thinking is maybe put a little denatured alcohol on your towel and then squirt your Shallow Wax on there and see if that kind of helps dissolve it a little bit and let it spread a little easier. It sounds like it's drying out a little bit and it's tacking up. Not 100% sure, but that's kind of what I'm thinking. Hello, Chris Walters. Chris is a good friend of mine. Jackie. Well, it's going real well. You can see I've got this is a blank. Boy, I wish it was a little clearer there. There we go. This is a blank that was made for me by Jeff Walker, and it's got my logo in it. And I used it in a video. I drilled it out for the drilling video. You can see See the gap in there? I still need to sand the ends down and square them up, but it's pretty close to being ready to go to the lathe. The only thing I'm worried about is, notice the logo, how nice and round it is. When I turn this and it goes around the pin, I think that logo is going to oval out on me, and it's probably going to look a little odd, but we're going to turn it just the same, and I will show what it looks like, most likely in a video. Charlie, hey there, fairly new to pin making, having a blast. What are your thoughts about router tools, specifically tips versus tools that need to be sharpened? I can never seem to get my, you know, I really like high-speed tools, but I got to where I could sharpen the ones that I use. I think if you're talking about router bits, like, are you talking about using like a Jacob's chuck or something and putting a router bit in it and using that to turn with? Because I've never done that. But if you're talking about, oh shoot, I just went blank on what they're called. Let me grab one. Carbide. I lost it for a second. If you're talking about carbide, I think carbide tools are a great way for people to start out. And the reason why is you don't have to sharpen them. When they get dull, you rotate them. You do have to replace your bits. You can actually sharpen these sometimes. If you have like a little, like a card file, put a little lapping fluid on there, and you can lay it down and rub it on the card file, and that'll sometimes sharpen them up if they're not too damaged. This is a great way to start. I have trouble with carbide because I started with high-speed steel. And with high-speed steel, you bring the tool down and you turn it at a 45 and you anchor, ABC, you anchor it on the tool rest, you ride the bevel on your turning, and then you cut. So you turn into the cut. And with carbide, you go straight in. My muscle memory, I'll go straight in, I'll start this way, then my muscle memory kicks in and I end up dropping and twisting the tool. Man, I blow more stuff apart with carbide, so I stick with high speed. But you're right, it has to be sharpened, and until you can afford a low-speed grinder and a sharpening jig or sharpening rig, you're probably better off to go with the carbide. Root beer, I bet. Yes, sir. Root beer, XXX root beer. Niels Matheson, thank you for all your videos and supporting the small vendors. Hey, Niels, guys, this is the man I'm always talking about, Niels, but better than Niels is Debbie. You want to talk to Debbie, right? She's the cool one. But Niels and Debbie own Classic Nib. They're personal friends of mine, great people. Customer service will blow your mind. They will take care of you if you need anything, turning/pin related. That's a free commercial for you there, Niels. But talk to Debbie. Don't talk to Niels, right? I'm just joking. Jackie, cannot wait. Thank you, Jackie. Yeah, hopefully soon, maybe today. Scott Mills, hello. Oh, Paul Reese, at Paul Reese. I often use a microfiber cloth like the ones you use for cleaning eyeglasses when I use friction polish. Huh. Well, that's a pretty cool idea. I never thought about that. I like that idea. The only thing I'm nervous about, which I generally don't bring cloth to my lathe, and the reason why is if you're turning and that cloth gets caught into the lathe, it can pull your fingers in. Whereas if a paper towel gets caught, it's going to yank apart. So be very careful doing that. I don't recommend cloth on the lathe, but that is an interesting idea. And I've seen people use stuff like that foam, craft foam to put CA finish on and stuff, and I guess that's similar. So, but just be real careful, and you should be okay. Greetings from Nebraska. Hello, David. Is that a new craft soda you have been drinking? This one's been around for a long time. I get these and drink them when I can, but I have to go to West Lafayette, Indiana to get them. It's about 4 hours. I used to go more often when my kiddos went to school there, but nobody goes to school there yet. I do have a son who is looking at the school, so I may be going up there a little more often in a couple of years. Hi, I live in Arizona, and my daughter lives in North Carolina. She sells my pins in Charlotte. I use Mylans as a finish. That's a great finish. Let's see, she finds out the finish is not keeping its shine. Yes, Mylans is a great finish, but anytime you use a friction polish, that's why I switched over to CA glue, because the friction polish will wear down, and you'll notice your pins, they'll get kind of dark and kind of grubby looking. They'll lose their shine. Whereas with CA, it's like putting a plastic coating over your pin. It stays shiny for longer. I have been talking to a couple of people about what's the stuff that the dentists put on your teeth. They put it on your teeth and they use a UV light to seal it. Some people have been talking about that lately. Now, I haven't got into it yet, but I'm interested in learning a little more about it. Thomas Tate, a green silicone wheel is used to sharpen carbide on a grinder. Didn't know that, but Thomas is a machinist. So if he says that works, I got to go with it because he knows way more about that than I do. Let's see. Dead Rise. Hey, Emmett, how you doing, buddy? Eric Milligan. There's Eric Milligan. Is root beer the same as ginger beer? No. Root beer is sweet. Ginger beer kind of has that sort of dry aftertaste. There's a big difference. It's kind of more spicy as well. This is super, super sweet. Denatured alcohol is not sold in California. Do you have a substitute? Oh, I guess you could probably try mineral spirits. Mineral spirits dries relatively quickly, and does it leave an oily finish though? You know, I can't remember. If mineral spirits does not leave an oily finish, you could use it. Just give it a little bit longer to dry. DNA dries so quickly. And I understand there are a lot more regulations in California than there are in some of the other states. So I realize that does make it kind of tough. Wasn't going for a commercial, LOL. We appreciate what you do. I love you guys, Niels. Well, actually, I love Debbie. Niels is okay. I'm just teasing. I love both Niels and Debbie. They're awesome, and I like to pick on Niels a little bit, but that's what good friends do, right? Looks like I'm buying a lathe tomorrow. Dave, congratulations, man. What kind of lathe are you getting? Thomas Tate, fluoride? Fluoride, question mark. I don't know what the fluoride, I don't know what that means, buddy. Let me know what you mean by that. Thomas, that's what I was going to say. Fluoride. I don't get that one. I'm sorry. Hi, Bob from Baltimore. Hello, Ned. How are you doing? Ned's been around for a long time. I've seen his comments on the channel for a long time. Eric Milligan. Good to hear from you, Eric. Is there a way I can drill the hose without ending on the side? I don't want to have to get a drill press. Yeah. On your lathe, you can drill. You can drill on the lathe, but you'll need some kind of a chuck to grab that blank. And then when you put the blank in the chuck, you've got to make sure, you know, sometimes the wood is not perfectly square. So you've got to you've seen me do a trick where I'll line it up with the way of the lathe and I'll turn it. And if it's off a little bit, I'll kind of adjust it before I tighten it down. Make sure it's perfectly straight in the chuck. Turn the speed way down, and then you should be able to drill right through the blank without any issue. It's just the chuck is expensive. But the beauty of the chuck is you can not only drill on the lathe, but now you have a chuck so you can hold turnings for all types of other things that you might want to turn. So it's expensive, but it's a good investment if you plan to grow your turning. Hey, a Jet 1221, that's a nice lathe. I wish I had a 1221. Fluoride is the UV stuff they put on your teeth. Thank you. See, you get, you know, they say as you get older, there's two things that go. First, it's the memory, and I can't remember what the second one is. You mentioned that about the stuff dentists use. That's right. Dave Saunders, message retracted. Pizza Warlord, you asked what the dentist put on your teeth. Fluoride, yes. I don't think it's fluoride, though, that I'm thinking of. It's something else. I hope my buddy Bob Hayden gets on later because he's the guy I've been learning about it from. Hello, Bob. Hello, everybody. Ray Gonzalez. Hello, Ray. Good to hear from you, buddy. Dave Saunders, used. Hey, nothing wrong with the used lathe. The nice thing about used lathe, I have a small used lathe, and the nice thing about it is, especially with the smaller lathes, people don't turn very big stuff. Therefore, you're not really stretching those bearings. They tend to hold up forever. So check your bearings, you know, make sure everything works on it, and you should be in great shape. I was going to get a chuck, but when my dad made a jig for me, it sort of works. It's not too far to the side without going through. Yeah, you need to tweak on that jig, Chris, and get it as straight as you can, because if you start going through the side, I mean, blanks, unless you cut them yourself and ensure that they are perfectly square, blanks are, let's just be honest, they're rarely perfectly square. So you want to be able to adjust that. You may have to shim it or something to get it to where you can go right down the center. Hello, Pamela. How are you? John O'Neill. Good afternoon, John. I just got a sanding jig similar to yours after your last sanding video. Thanks for the link. The PSI one wasn't working. The PSI one's a good idea, but the issue with it is it just has the one little bar, so you have to get like a spacer to go on, or to go inside each of your blanks. So that makes it tough. I've got one similar to that one. I like the one that that I use from Tim's Toolbox, Tim Geist, because I can pop a punch in there, and you can get a set of punches at Harbor Freight for $8 or $10, which isn't a lot of money, and they're great for disassembling pins, so you get kind of a double use out of them. And I've used them for other stuff too. They come in super handy. Thomas Tate. There's also Aluma UV. Yes, I think that might be more along the lines of what it is. I hope Bob gets on. I'll ask him if he does. Hi, Bob. You have been an inspiration to some of the projects I have done. Well, thank you, Chris. I appreciate that. I really do. Pizza Warlord. Just got my first lathe. Does it matter what size tool rest you use for pin making? Mine came with a 14-inch rest. Tool rest doesn't matter with one exception. It sometimes gets in the way if it's too long. I like a smaller tool rest. I have about a 4-inch tool rest. And not too long ago, and I've just lost the gentleman's name. Let me grab it. Ed Semper. I wrote it on the tool rest so I wouldn't forget. Ed sent me this tiny one. Now, this is nice for turning between centers when I do like the Sierras. This is great, but normally I use about a 4-inch tool rest. And this is perfect for turning pins. The 14-inch, I mean, that's going to be this long. It's going to work just great, but it could get in the way. You shouldn't have any trouble with it. Where you could have trouble with a larger tool rest is if you're turning something big and you're turning out toward the end and you get a catch, it can break tool rest off, but I don't think that's going to be an issue for pin turning at all. Let's see. Where do we leave off? There it is. Thomas Tate, Alumalite UV resin. That's what it is a UV resin, and you spread it on the blank. You hit it with the UV light, and then it cures. I haven't tried it yet, but Bob has been playing with it quite a bit. Hello, Wanda. How are you? Hi, Bob. Best pin turner ever. Oh, I don't know about that. I would hate to say I'm the best pin turner ever. I would say I'm an average pin turner, and I like to show my mistakes to prove that I'm just a regular, ordinary garage pin turner like everybody else, right? Hi, man. Mac and back build. Atticus. Hello, Atticus. You made a cedar. Wow. B-E-H. A cedar blank, a cedar pin blank? I hope I'm understanding that correctly. Ray Gonzalez. I'll be posting a Civil War pin kit that I just, oh, yeah, send me a photo of that, Ray. I can't wait to see it. Or send me a link when you post it. It's going to be awesome. Thomas Tate, yes, it does. Chris, it's relatively inexpensive as well. Yeah, the UV resin is supposed to be inexpensive. I think the lights are a little pricey, but it's a, excuse me, it's a one-time purchase. Let's see, Chris Walters. Bob has been helping me with pin turning, and I appreciate him. He's a good man and a good friend. Well, thank you, Chris. I appreciate that. You're an awful good friend yourself. I enjoy talking with you. Francisco. Hello, Francisco. How are you? I'm doing great. I hope you're doing well. Trevor Vesey. Hey, good day, Bob, from down there. Whoa, hey, hello from Australia. Man, great to have you here. Let's see, Australia. So it should be really early in the morning there, right? I think we're 7 hours difference, maybe. Is that right? Wow. Well, thanks for joining in, man. Doesn't that make you the best? Others usually cut the mistakes out. No, it doesn't make me the best. It just makes me real. Because I guarantee you, I know a lot of pin turners, and the guys that aren't showing the mistakes, they're making them. They're just not showing them. We all make them. I mean, the only way you're not going to make a mistake is if you're doing it on a machine, right? So it's otherwise stuff happens. We all slip up. Let's see, whatever you say, but you probably don't know the number of people that you have helped. Well, and that's honestly, that's why I do my videos. When I started pin turning, I went straight to YouTube to learn. I didn't go to a book or anything else. I went straight to YouTube because it's so accessible to everybody. And the videos I was watching were very well produced. They were slick videos. There'd be a guy and he'd come out and he'd say, hey, and he wouldn't say anything. There'd be music playing. He'd show a blank. And next thing you know, it's turning on the lathe. The next thing you know, he's wiping it down with something. The next thing you know, it's a pin, right? And it's like, well, where are all the in-between steps? And that's what I wanted to know. So when I started making videos, I just started making videos to show all the in-between steps. And you know, that was the whole idea, is make the videos that I needed when I started out, because I guarantee those of you who are new to turning have the same questions I had. How do you do this? How do you do that? How did you get that hole in there, right? You know, I didn't know to put a tube in. The first pin I tried to turn, I didn't have a tube in it because I didn't see the guy put a tube in on the video I watched. So that didn't go over real well. It slipped a lot. Let's see. I have some of the off-brand UV resin, but never thought it was used as a finish. Yeah, guys use it on fishing lures. Guys who make fishing lures, they'll carve them out, and they'll put that UV resin on them and cure them after they paint them. So that's why we're thinking it should be great for pins. And since it can go in the water with the fishing lures and hold up, it should hold up really well on a pin as well. 5 a.m. Man, 5 a.m. Brother, I really appreciate you joining in. 5 a.m. Woo! On a Sunday morning, or actually, if it's 5 a.m., yeah. I forget whether you're 5, but behind us or ahead of us. I can never remember. I get all screwed up on my timelines. Wow, you're a brave man. You must be getting ready for work. Hi, Bob. You've turned a hybrid pin blank. What finish other than CA would you go for? Well, I'll be honest. Matter of fact, I got a hybrid pin blank right here, and CA is about the only finish I use right now, only because it's just so durable, and it's great when you're with the hybrid pins because if there are any scratches in your resin section, it'll actually fill those scratches and hide them. So that's the only finish I really use anymore. I have other finishes, several other ones, but I just really like CA. Appreciate all of your videos. Great help. Thank you. I appreciate that, Francisco. Let's see. Brett Maples. Bob, you are the reason I started turning. You've been such a great mentor and friend. Thank you for all you do. The world wouldn't be the same without RJBWoodturner. Thank you. I appreciate that, Brett. Very kind of you to say. The pin for troops I just sent you was my first ever use of Aluma UV. Look nice. All right. Can't wait to see it. That's going to be awesome, Thomas. And the hybrid looks familiar. You know what, Thomas? I think that is a hybrid you sent me. I think that might be one of the blanks that you sent me and I turned. Don't forget the thumbs up. Will do. Man, that's good root beer. Thanks for being a constant inspiration. Do you think turning fountain pens is worth it? Fountain pens, the answer is if you're turning because you enjoy pens and you want to turn more fountain pens and more custom pens, it's worth it. If you're turning to sell them, it can be worth it. Fountain pens, how do I want to say this? The people that collect and purchase fountain pens are willing to pay a very nice price for a very nice custom pen. But the pens that we're getting, the kits that we're getting at some of the big stores aren't really, they need some tweaking. And that's where Niels comes in. I don't know if he's even still listening, but Niels called me a month and a half or so ago, he and Debbie, and they stayed on the phone with me for probably 45 minutes and talked me through things to look for, how to tweak those pens, how to clean the air channel. There's an air channel that lets air up into the pen so that it continuously feeds the ink, how to clean that, how to separate the tines, how to adjust the tines. So I'm getting way off subject here. I think it can be worth it if you can get into the right market. Best thing to do may be to join a fountain pen club and get involved with the folks that are in the fountain pen club and to learn a little bit about it. Otherwise, fountain pens are a tough sell unless you know what you're doing and you know your audience. Then I think you can do okay with it. I don't know if that answered it, but that was a good question. That's a tough question. Trevor Vesey, that tool rest is 4 inches, almost the same as Vicmark, and it's Sunday, and I'm long retired. Oh, okay. Yeah, it does look a lot like a Vicmark. This actually came with my lathe, and I don't know, this to me is the perfect size tool rest for turning a pen. Now, the reason why I got this from Ed is he thought I might be able to use this for some of my bespoke stuff, and it has come in handy. So I use this from time to time, but this is my go-to. This is my backup. So if I get into a jam with this one, a tight space, I pull out Ed's tool rest. Let's see, where was I? Okay, Sunday, 5 a.m. So that means you're behind us. 74 years old. Okay, so my dad is 75. He's up at 4 a.m. every morning, so I think I understand. He's retired as well. It seems like, you know, you spend your whole life getting up early to go to work, then you retire where you could actually sleep in, and you can't sleep. That's what my dad always says. Let's see. It was my double mallet burl jester blank. Okay. Oh, that's this blank. The double mallet burl jester blank is this blank that Thomas Tate made and sent to me. I don't know if Thomas sells those, but you can check out Thomas Tate. Look him up on Facebook and see if he sells those. Chris's Gift Shop. Bob, have you ever turned anything like Alligator Jawbone? You know, I have not. Or do you just stick with wood? I haven't turned Alligator. I used to turn a lot of antler, and I got away from antler. When I turned it, I would have a dust collector on, and I would wear a mask because you don't want to breathe that dust. It's really nasty, and it could be full of bacteria, right? The issue is when you're done, you know, you take your mask off, you leave the shop, everything settles. You come back the next day, you start moving stuff around, you stir that dust up. Now you don't have your mask on, and you're inhaling this antler dust, which is full of who knows what. And I started having some respiratory issues where I was having trouble breathing, and I thought, well, maybe that's what it is. So I backed off of the bone, but I've not turned Alligator. Have you ever turned a pin from hairy oak? I don't think so. I don't think I have. Let's see, Paul. All right. Thank you for your insight. Yeah, Paul, I'm sorry. That was a tough one to kind of answer. It was a great question. Francisco, Niels and Debbie are great mentors on fountain pens. Yes, they are. If you have questions on fountain pens, you know, I want to learn a little bit about them, you should call Niels and Debbie. They are wonderful, and they can answer pretty much, they're very well versed. They can answer pretty much any question you have. Marilyn Holt, I've really enjoyed watching your videos on making bespoke pens. Do you know a source of step-by-step instructions for making them? I don't know where to start. Jim Hines, I think, used to put out step-by-step instructions. I have worked on step-by-step instructions numerous times, but what I've found, Marilyn, is each time I make them, they change just a little bit. So I have never quite locked in, and I haven't stuck with it long enough to lock in on A to Z, here's the steps I take. I hope to get there one day. So, but Jim Hines, H-I-N-Z-E, at HinesPens.com, he may have something. He was one of my mentors and one of my teachers, and he's very good at turning fountain pens. Brett Maples, fountain pens are something I do as a custom order only. I found that they're hard to sell unless, yeah, and I don't sell anymore, but years ago I used to do a lot of, go around to a lot of shows and sell. And fountain pens are a tough sell. Once in a while you get one guy who walks through who's a fountain pen guy, but man, those guys generally know their stuff and they'll look it over, and if there's something wrong with it, they know right away. I mean, they know it's not a quality pen. They can look at the nib. There's all kinds of stuff they do, and the more you get into fountain pens, the more you learn just how much detail there is to learn about fountain pens. Larry Anderson, us ham radio operators can tell you that Australia is ahead of us. They get to see New Year's fireworks before we do. You know, I get so mixed up on that. I can never figure that out. You think I'd have it figured out by now. I have an app on my computer at work because I get to work with people in other countries all the time. It's great, but I can look up what the time is, and it tells me, you know, here it is 3 o'clock, there it is X o'clock. So that way I know whether they're available or whether they've not come to work yet or they've already gone home. So, and I have to rely on the app. Hey, Bob and everyone. Hello, James. Angle cut hairy oak is the most dangerous, or the most gorgeous and amazing wood from Australia. Maybe Trevor could set you up with some. Huh. You know, I've never heard of hairy oak. That's interesting. Hey, I'm back. Sorry, my man. Welcome back, Chris. What's a good brand for an air filtration system? I just went ahead and picked up this Delta now. I didn't actually do any research. I went to visit Lynn Lacey, and Lynn Lacey just got a brand new air filtration system. And he goes, man, I got this Delta air filtration system. All it needs is a filter. You want it? I said, you bet. And I hauled it home, bought a new filter for it, and that's the one that I use. It does a great job. I will tell you, I have to clean the filters and change the filters quite often. If I run it, it picks up a lot of junk from the air. The filtration system, really, that thing up there, all it does is move the air. I think the real trick is in the filter, and I bought a HEPA filter for it. So buy the better filters. I think it's down to 0.01 micron, I think is what that one was. So in my mind, that's just a big fan that blows air. That's what they all are. The wind, the jet, all of them, they just blow air. But get a good quality filter, a HEPA filter. The smaller the particle size, the better, because the more it's going to pick up out of the air. Yes, hairy oak is nice. Very common here. Okay. I've sold 2 of my birdhouse already. Congratulations, Chris. That's pretty awesome. CJ Phillips, thanks. You're welcome, CJ. Let me get another quick drink here. Oh, all this talking makes you thirsty. I'm supposed to answer some questions today, so let me jump over and take a look at some questions. I've got my first question was from Phil Walmsley, and says, "Hey Bob, I have some questions concerning pin blank casting with Alumalite. For example, other than the pressure pot with molds, what type of material is used for the labels, and how do you size them for the specific tubes? I would find that very helpful if you have time to answer during the podcast." Okay, this is why I wanted to do this today. We didn't get a lot of time during the podcast, but Phil, I use www.ptownsubby.com. They sell all the stuff, and the way it works is the paper, they sell paper that it's peelable paper that you print on your color printer. They also sell a spray that locks everything onto the paper. The way you know the proper size is they sell, and I've got some somewhere, they sell these little plastic templates, and it'll say Sierra, it'll say Bolt Action on it, so you know cigar, so you know what kit it's for, and it's a little clear plexiglass, it's laser cut, you lay it on the paper, you can center it, and you cut with a razor blade, you cut out your little sticky section. Then there's a little tray, you peel the backing off, drop it in the tray, you lay your tube on there, and you roll your tube forward, and roll it right over top of this tray, and it rolls it over the sticker, and applies the sticker perfectly straight. You take a razor blade and just trim off your ends, put it in your mold, and mold it up. My buddy Mike DeWalter, if you have more specific questions, he also has some videos on that. But P-Town Subby has all the equipment to make perfect size every time. He has all the molds. He has the Stoner mold release. Everything you need, he specializes in that, and he's got it all. And that's where I got all of my casting stuff. Dave's Creations. Why does CA turn yellow when you use activator? I've not had that problem. I've had CA turn yellow when it gets old, but I've not had it turn yellow from activator. So I don't know, unless perhaps, hopefully the activator is the same brand as the CA. Perhaps a different brand might have a little different chemical makeup, and that could cause the problem. I wish I had an answer for you, Dave, but I don't. Let me go back, and you guys have got a bunch more questions out here. Let's see. I'm getting another Wind chuck because my old one doesn't work. Okay, cool. Wind makes decent product. Now that you got air filtration system, would you consider an Alligator Jawbone blank? If so, where do I send it? You bet I would. Any of my videos on the channel, if you click into the description below the video, it has my address. It's P.O. Box 114, Newburgh, Indiana, 47629. And it's in every single video that I do over there. Getting all the tools to start kitless pins. I've just got the die holder to come, and then I'm having a go. I watched your bespoke pin videos about 100 times. Man, thank you. You're gonna love it. Start simple. Don't try to make something complicated. Just start with some scrap and learn how to turn it down, how to get the right diameter, how to tap it, how to cut the threads on it. Get used to that. Once you can do that, it's just like turning a regular pen. It's so awesome. And you can make your own mandrels. Get some aluminum. Brass is even better, but it's super pricey. And turn your mandrel down, and you can thread your brass. Turn your brass down, you can thread it, and make your own custom mandrels. That'll save you a little bit of money. Love the Triple X. Hey, Bob H. Yes, it's good stuff. I'll need a pretty big filtration system for my shop. Oh my God, 2,000 square feet, you lucky dog. Yeah, you will need a big filtration system. That's an awesome shop. I wish I had 2,000 square feet. Message retracted. Atticus Nicole. I don't know why it's retracting that message. Perhaps it's, I don't know. We love hearing about your family. Do any of your children turn? Also, thanks for sharing with us. Larry, they used to. All 3 of my children used to turn. They've turned mini pens as gifts for teachers. They've turned styluses back whenever they had iPads in school, and the styluses were handy. they just, as they got older, my youngest children are 16, all three of them, they're triplets, and their friends and their activities and their school and all their other functions, they've just sort of drifted away from it, but they know how to do it. They know how to turn safely, and I hope that one day in the future, they'll return to the lathe, you know, maybe when they get out on their own and they're looking for a hobby, and they'll turn again. So I'll keep my fingers crossed. P-Town Subby, they are great. Yes, they are, and they have everything for casting. Can you place a link for P-Town Subby? Yeah, hang on. www.ptownsubby.com. There's your link for P-Town Subby, and P.O. box 114 NEWBURGH, IN 47629, and there's my address. Let's see, I cut my clear cast labels on my circuit. Yeah, the circuit is a nice tool, man. I wish I had one of those. Or it's pronounced Cricket, maybe. Cricket, right? I think it's Cricket. Wow, I just had a look at Heinz pens. Jim was my teacher. He taught me how to do kitless pens. Jim is an artist. He's an artist. That's all I can say about him. He's an artist. Just want to say hi, Bob. Hello, Daryl. How are you, buddy? Daryl's a good friend of mine. Met up with him at the Mid-Ohio Valley Pen Turners Gathering for the first time this past year, 2019. Bye, everyone. She who must be obeyed just got up and wants to go for our morning walk. All right, Trevor. Take care, buddy. Thanks for hanging out with us. Atticus Nico, how much do you sell your slimline pens? You know, Atticus, it depends. My slim lines, when I was selling them, were between $25 and $30 for just a basic wood pen. That was just one wood. Anytime I added additional materials, made cuts, did anything that was above and beyond, I adjusted the price. If you want to know a good way to price your pens, go to just go to Penn State. Okay, this is one thing I do use them for. Any pen you look at, the Fun line, for example, it'll tell you low, mid, and high selling price that people say they sell them for. I started at the mid price. If they sold well, I bumped them up a couple of bucks. If they kept selling well, I bumped them up a couple of bucks. When they stopped selling well, I bumped them back, and that was my price. And that's kind of how I locked in on a selling price. I learned and still use the old Harbor Freight turning tools. I need new ones. Harbor Freight turning tools will work just fine. The problem is they just don't hold an edge real long. If you turn around and buy good quality tools, you're going to lose your mind at how well they turn and how long they hold their edge. So, you know, use them until you can afford them. Don't jump in over your head on spending money. Get by with what you got because they work, and then one at a time replace them and get something good, man. Get some D-Way or some Thompson. That's where I want to go. I want to get the Thompson tools. I got to save up for them though, because you know they're not cheap, but they are well worth it. Let's see, 360 M3 brass. Thank you, Thomas. 360-M3 brass works a lot better and is cheaper. I need to write that down. 360 M3 brass. I'll write that down over there, and then I'll look that up next time I go to order. Let's see. Larry Anderson, regarding your children, I loved it when your daughter acted as MC during one of your live sessions quite a while ago. Made me happy. Yeah, I've tried to get her to come out and do a couple lives, but it just doesn't really, it was fun when she was younger, right? Because she got to, you know, use the iPad and everything, and now it's not so exciting anymore. They think Dad's just crazy. Remember carbide cutters for best results. Oh, on the bone. Thank you. Thank you. All right, we're at the end of the list, so let's jump over and do another question. Ted Toymain, I believe is how you pronounce that. Question 1, how do you store your project kits? You're going to kick out of this. Here's how I store my project kits, shoved in a box. I don't have any method for doing that. That's a great question. It's something I got to work on. I've just always just shoved it in a box, and then I just dig through and pick out what I want to turn. How do you store your different bushings? Bushings coming up. I buy these boxes at the hobby store, and you can see on there I've got, it'll say Cameo pin, and then the bushing identification number, and I just store them. These boxes have little compartments in them, and my bushings are all stored nice and neat, and I've got a little rack over there that I made a while back that I hang them in. And third question, do you find different pin kits use the same size bushings? Yes, they do. If you go out to IAP, the International Association of Pin Turners, and you got to kind of dig around to find it, but they have a chart out there that will tell you the Sierra, the Monarch, the Wall Street all use the same bushings. They're the same kit. They're just a little different look, you know, because each company kind of has them custom designed, you know, for themselves, right? So there are many kits that use the same bushings. So you can always look that up and save yourself having to buy a set of bushings for every kit you buy. Let's see. Okay. That was the last question from Ted, I'm sorry. Hey, Bob, just want to thank you and your channel. You inspired me to cast and turn my own pins for a hobby business. I'll be sending you some hybrid blanks. Well, thank you, Dan. I really appreciate that. Thank you very much. I always love getting blanks from people. Bear in mind, I don't always turn them right away because with the amount of time I have, you know, they end up on the cart for a while, but then they come back out later on. So thank you. If you ever send me something, please understand I will eventually turn it, but sometimes it takes me a while to get to it, just because of, you know, shop priorities and kit availability and just things like that. But thank you so much. I really, really appreciate that. Ned Swickle, or Swicky, Ned Swicky. I use the same hobby box. I need to label them though. Yeah, I tell you what, if you don't label them, that's a mess. Chemistry Hacker, they have a phone app as well for bushings. Yes, that's true. The IAP does have that on their phone, and I need to add that to my phone. If somebody knows the link for that app, shoot it to me. I'm gonna, even if you have to pay for it, I'm gonna add it to my phone because I've got several kits that were sent to me that I need to find bushings for. They are Taylor Mansfield kits, and they are gorgeous. I've got a roller ball, and this is a roller ball, and this is a fountain pen, and I just need to find the diameters of the bushings. I got the instructions. The instructions came with them, but the instructions don't have the bushing diameters on them. You know, very good instructions. I just need to know the diameters, and these came from my good buddy Hugh. Let's see. I really have trouble trying to sell my turn pins here in Germany. I set up an Etsy shop a year ago, and lately also made a Pinterest page for my pins. Since then, I got some traffic. The best way to sell pins, I never had much luck. I didn't have any luck with Etsy. I don't even have an Etsy store anymore. Online is tough because the competition is huge. You want to know how I started selling pins? I made a couple of pins. I showed them around work. I sold one to a guy, and I told him, hey, I will give you $5 for every pin you sell. So at that time, I was taking commissions. So he goes out, and he shows it to his sister-in-law, his brother-in-law, all these people, and he started bringing the orders, right? And I was selling slimlines for $25 a piece at the time. That's all I was making and selling. So I was selling them for $25. And you know, a slimline is maybe $3, and it's maybe $3, so it was costing me maybe $6, you know, to buy the parts, and I'd make the pin, and I would sell it for $25 and give him $5. So I was making a decent little profit, and that was early on. And once word of mouth got out, then those people became repeat customers. And as I started expanding my line of pins, I was able to show them and offer them more. And it got to where it was overwhelming to the point where I couldn't keep up. And it became a job, and it just took all the fun out of the hobby. So I quit selling because my objective is I've got a great job, but I want to come out to the shop and relax and enjoy myself. And I just didn't want a second job. So I quit selling. Bushing storage boxes, I found great ones at Walmart. They actually sell, yeah, they sell these little boxes where you open the box up and all the little individual boxes come out, and they're about that big. I might have, yeah, they're about half this size, and there'll be like 24 or 36 of these, something like that, in the case, and you can pull these out and take them to the lathe. Those are even better than the ones I have. As a matter of fact, I got one, and I've been meaning to. I gotta buy a label gun so I can label again. My label gun broke. And then I can label them and move them to that new box. Bob H., do you know the clothes hanger trick for squaring your drill press table? I don't, but I would like for you to send that to me. Pin app is 99 cents. Please send me the link because it's going to be the best 99 cents I ever spent. I'm going to buy that thing. Thomas Tate, which pin kits do you have from Taylor Mansfield? Let me look up the name. They look like incredible kits. They're the Omega Rollerball and the Omega Fountain Pen. So if you've got the bushing diameters, please send those along to me. Sent you a link to the IP app. Thank you, Daryl. I appreciate that. After this, I'm gonna buy it. It's worth 99 cents. It's great. Can you post a link for the app? Yes, please do. Also post that link. Daryl sent me the link, so if no one posted, Daryl, if you wouldn't mind, just post it in the comments. That'd be great. All right, we're at the end of the list. Let's jump over. Angie McLaren, my question to you is, you used CA glue and didn't wear gloves. How do you get your fingers unstuck? Well, in the early days, I had that issue, especially with thin CA. I would try to hold something and glue it, and that glue is like water. It would run over my fingers, and I've glued these two together before. And I use, it's called a debonder, CA debonder. It's really just acetone. Now, I don't like putting acetone on my hands because acetone is carcinogenic, and in theory, a good amount of acetone could cause you to develop cancer. So I try to avoid that. What I do is, nowadays, I'll hold the end of the tube and I'll put CA on it, and there's always about 1/4 of an inch that I'm holding onto that I put into the tube, and then when I push it in with my my pin insertion tool, the glue that's bubbled out will get over, it'll lap over the end of the tube and get glue on the end of the tube, so I don't get it on my fingers if I can at all avoid it. When I turn, you've seen me put the blue tape on my finger. The nice thing about that is I get it all over the blue tape. I just peel the tape off, throw it away, and I don't get it on my fingers because I used to get a nice little, like a CA callus on there. You'd have to pick it off, and it'd be on there for 3 or 4 days. And I don't like using those harsh chemicals because, you know, you can feel how cool that acetone is when you touch it. That's because it's going right into your between your pores, right into your skin. So, excuse me, try to avoid that. These links are for the pin. Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure what it is for the Android world. Okay. Surely they have an app for the Android too. I mean, my goodness, why would they want to miss out on that market? You know what I mean? I use the Darcy bead storage box from Walmart. Those are nice. 12 small round plastic jars that fit into a 6 by 5 inch box. I've seen those. Those are really nice. Bead sections at the hobby stores and Walmart are a great place to pick up stuff for holding small parts for turning. Definitely. David Lang, I accidentally dumped my divider box once. Yeah, that's why I want to get to the one with the individual boxes, because if I ever knock that off a table, I'm up the creek. But the individual boxes, only the ones that pop open when they hit the floor, you got to worry about. So that should cut down damage control. You lose a lot less that way. Scrubbies you use for dishes to get this. Yeah, the scrubbies will work for scrubbing. Let's see, you can use one of the pin part bags for your finger. I've seen a lot of people do that. I haven't had a lot of luck with that, and I tried it once, and it kind of caught and pulled it off my finger and wrapped it around the blank. Luckily, being that it was a smooth plastic, stopped the lathe, pulled it right off, threw it away, put another one on, and cleaned the blank off. That's the only trouble I had with them. I just prefer I've gotten used to using the tape. It works great for me, so I always say if it works, you know, that's the way to go. Thomas Tate, hot water also helps to loosen it on your skin. If you try it pretty much immediately afterwards. Yeah, you just got to kind of dig at it. CA glue sometimes burns. It can burn. You know, the funny thing is, I think this is legit. I read that CA glue was actually developed during the Vietnam War to use for surgeons to help seal incisions quickly. So when they operated on someone, instead of having to stitch them up, they could pull the skin together and glue the skin. To me, I don't know if that's true or not. That's what I read it somewhere years ago. But man, that stuff does burn if it gets, especially if you get like an activator or water. Water is like an activator, and that stuff will light you up. I've done double glove method, yeah. The issue with gloves is I've worn the nitrile gloves, and I've had a glove stick and yanked the tip of the glove off, and then it stuck to the blank. Then I got to clean that off. So, you know, I have not had an issue with the tape. So Randy Mick, where's your super chat icon? You know, I don't know how to do that, Randy. I don't know how to do a super chat icon. I need to, I guess, learn. Yep, that's correct, Bob. But CA in a bottle. It's about CA and yeah. I use shop towels to fight. So do I. I love shop towels. I use whatever's handy. Shop towels, regular towels. I go swipe my wife's towels out from under the kitchen sink a lot of times. So I just use whatever. Bob, we appreciate you doing these videos. The in-depth videos are great to get another turner's perspective. Thank you. Thank you. I really appreciate that. For the bushings, I have 3D printer and file for hanging bushings thing. You can hang them on the pegboard pegs. Universe for those printers. I'll be darned. That's pretty cool. As a chemist that uses acetone by the gallon, there are no acetone-proof gloves. Yeah, I've heard that. Anytime you feel a chemical and you can feel the coolness of it, it's getting to your skin is what I heard. But I'm no chemist. I'm no doctor. That's what I heard, right? Probably read it on Facebook, right? But Bob is a chemist, and like I said, I would trust his input on that because that's what he did for many, many years. From the iPhone App Store, the IP Bushing Store is searchable. Okay, 600 pins. Thank you, Larry. So the application for IAP is searchable on the iPhone App Store, and I would bet you on the Google Store it's probably searchable as well. I'm sure they have to have it for the Android phones. The app displays detailed tube and bushing specifications and drill bit requirements for every kit in the app database. And that's why it is worth the 99 cents. And because there are so many times you have a question, boom, you can get the answer like that. I had a heck of a time. I got those pins from my buddy who was selling off all of his stuff. And I don't know, I got a box full of kits from him. And I went through and listed them all. And I was online Googling, what bushings do I need? What bushings do I need? And it took forever. If I would have had that app, that 99 cents would have paid for itself 10 times over by now. Black diamond nitrile gloves are industrial gloves that are designed for epoxy and glue applications. Thank you, Thomas. Okay, let's do another question. Let me drop down here a little bit. Born Again Maker has some questions. What's the best way to teach kids to make things? I've got 7 children, right? The best way to teach kids to make things is just to let them have at it in a safe manner. We used to just sit down at the kitchen table. My wife always had these big plastic tubs, and they would have popsicle sticks, and they'd have glue sticks, and they'd have construction paper and scissors. We just dump it out and let the kids go at it. That's the best way. They learn, and then they'll ask questions. How do I do this, Daddy? And then you can show them, right? That is, in my mind, that's the best way that my kids have all learned to make. And when they've asked, we've shown them. We brought them out to the shop. And that works for everything. I mean, my daughter has, I made her replace the throttle body on her car. I talked her through it. I made her replace the motors and the electric windows on my old Grand Prix, because my thought is, will she ever need to do that? Maybe not, but if she's done it, then she has no fear. If she needs to do it, she'll step up and do it. So the best way to teach kids anything is to let them do in a safe manner. Safe manner. You don't want to just, here's some turning tools, go figure it out, kid. But you stand there with them and help them through. Also from Born Again Maker, what attitudes and values do you use to motivate them? Now I haven't done any bespoke or custom pins. That's kind of advanced. But attitudes and values, the attitude is you can do anything you set your mind to. And the values, I think, come in, they see you do it, they want to mimic you, right? There's an old country song about, daddy and the son hears the daddy say a bad word, or, and he says it. And that's what it is. They want to do what you do. So, and that's why my channel, too, when you talk about values, if you watch my channel, there's nothing that you could ever find on my channel that will be negative or that you would be embarrassed to let your kid watch. Because I want to make sure that my stuff is accessible to everyone. So I keep it very family friendly. So I hope that helps. Let's take a look here. Randy Mick, how do we get one of those shirts you're wearing? This is custom made. My wife took my logo and sent it to, she also made the hat, sent it to a girlfriend of hers who has an embroidery machine, and she scanned that in, and then this is embroidered with thread. My wife just took her some t-shirts and some hats, and she charged me $50 to do the layout, or my wife $50 to do the layout, but now she has that in her machine, and she charges $10. So my wife will send her a t-shirt, and she'll embroider that on it. I can ask her if she's open to doing that, and then you could maybe send her a t-shirt and $10 for this or whatever her charge is, and maybe she'll do it. But I've never asked her to go beyond just making them for, for me. What he said. What's a good kit to start with? Never turn to pin. Years ago, I would have told you to go to a Slimline. Now I will tell you to go to a Sierra or a Sierra clone. And the reason why a Slimline's a great pin, because it's cheap. For about $2, you can get a pin. You screw it up, it's not a big deal. A Sierra is going to cost you $6 or so, $5 or $6. It's more expensive, but it's one tube. Therefore, it's easier to turn. You just have to get one tube right. Two tubes don't have to be perfect. So I think a Sierra is better. And never worry about screwing them up, because you can buy the tubes for about 20 cents a piece in bulk. And I buy them 25 or 50 at a time. I get them from Classic Nib. I think they sell them in packs of 50. And I've got a whole box of them over there. And, anytime you buy a pin that's got a tube already in it, you got a spare tube. So get you some spare tubes, screw a few of them up. But I think you go with the single tube pin. That's my new recommendation. You have great advice. Thank you. I just try to keep it real, and it's just the way I look at it. I may not be right, but that's my warped way of of looking at things, right? Hi, Bob. Will you ever get to resin in a larger way? I hope to. It's like I said at the beginning of this, and you might not have been around for that. I have shop squirrels, right? I'm sitting here and I'm turning this pin, and it's like, oh, look, metal lathe, and I'm on the metal lathe. It's like, oh, look, pressure pot, and I'm on the pressure pot. I get distracted very easily because I love doing this, and there are so many things I want to do and so many things I want to learn. I bounce all over. I would love to get into resin, more into resin casting. Got a pressure pot right there. You can see it on that cabinet back there. I just need to get some resin and get back to it. I would love to get into some stabilizing. There are so many things that I want to do. It's just finding the time, and then, of course, sometimes finding the money, because like the resin for that, resin's not cheap. So you got to kind of save up for it, let's say. Thomas Tate, I have a couple M3 metal blanks that are Sierra styles going to sit. Thank you, Thomas. I appreciate that. Let's jump back over to the questions now. Things are slowed down there. Is it better, this is from Born Again Maker, or do you prefer to work on your projects alone or work in a group? I prefer to work alone. I've done group work before, but if I'm just making stuff, I kind of like, if I'm learning or teaching myself, I like to work alone. If I'm going to have somebody in the shop, generally I'm not working on a project. Generally I'm teaching them how to do something. So that, there's my focus. But I tend to, in the shop, I like to work alone. And I think that stems from, in your work life, you work on big teams, right? And you have tons of input and tons of people. So sometimes you just, when you go to your hobby, you kind of go the other direction, and you look to kind of take things down to its simplest form. And just me with a pair of calipers, and a piece of paper and a pencil, and I'm happy.
Born Again Maker has another question. How can you help self-taught and loan makers work well with other
self-taught and loan makers? Oh, we all have bad habits. The main thing to remember is when you work with other people, they always tell you, no, this is how you do it, right? Listen to that, pay attention, steal the best ideas from what they do, but do it your way. As long as you're safe, there's no one way to do things. You can turn an ink pen, and you've seen me do it, turn a pen with a 3/4 inch roughing gouge. You can turn it with a bowl gouge. You can turn it with a Bedan tool. You can turn it with a skew. What's the best way? What's the easiest way for you to turn it? What works the best for you? There's more than one way to skin a cat. So never, when you're working with other people, listen to their opinions, listen to their ideas, learn from them, and steal the best ideas to enhance your methods, but never believe there's only one way to do something, because by golly, there's not.
Also, what is your favorite
song? Ooh, gosh, that's tough. That's going to depend on music genre. Wow.
Favorite song?
If we narrow it, I listen to a lot of classic rock. Favorite classic rock song is probably DOA by Van Halen. I listen to a lot of the sort of the new wave, the 80s stuff. Favorite song is probably maybe Night Spots by the Cars. Good golly, there's so many genres. Just trying to think of a favorite country music song. Country music song would be an older song. Probably something like I like country that tells a story. Something by Red Sovine, maybe Teddy Bear or Phantom 309. You know, I like the old country. Or You're the Reason Our Kids Are Ugly by Conway Twitty and Loretta Lynn. I like the older country. So I have a lot of favorite songs. It's tough to narrow it down because music sets a mood. So I pick a genre of music based on the mood I want to be in. Okay, Larry Anderson. My advice about Bob, why don't you try? Bob, you cannot do everything, and we love viewing what you do. Don't try to branch out into everything. It's sort of like trying to chase rabbits. Yeah, I know. I can't help it, but like I said, I got shop squirrels, man. I branch out all over the place because I just love it. I love learning, and I love experimenting, and I have a ball. This is my man cave. This is my kingdom, and when I'm out here, it's all about just having a good time and doing whatever you want to do, right? I watched your video on the Beartooth Sierra conversation to pencil. I ordered some, and they don't fit the Sierra style. I tried it in. What was your tube length? I always say Sierra, and I'm bad about that. I was using Monarchs and Wall Streets and regular Sierras. Now, the Chinese Sierras are a different size, and stuff does not fit them. So perhaps you had some of the Chinese Sierras, but I was using Monarchs, and the ones you get from Beartooth work great. You use a metal lathe or wood? I use a wood lathe primarily, but I do have a metal lathe that I play around with sometimes when I want to pretend like I know what I'm doing. I have ADD. It can be difficult to pay. Yeah, I think I probably do too, to a certain extent. Maybe not a bad case of it, but I like to bounce around a lot. Thank you for your video on resin blank rating. So helpful. Yeah, you're welcome. That was a long time ago, and those resin blanks were only the ones you could get from Penn State. I don't buy a lot of those anymore. I stick with more polyester resin and Alumalite now. Those are the two that I turn the most, and I really like both of those. They're wonderful to turn. Can you also utilize the 80 grit gouge? You can, but I hate sanding. The problem with the 80 grit gouge is you take something down to the level of the tubes, and then you stop the lathe, and you have such deep gouges in it that you've got to get out that you end up below the tubes. And plus, I just hate sanding, so I try to avoid that. Most makers have eclectic taste in music. I would say I have eclectic taste. It depends on the day of the week. You might catch me listening to the Rat Pack one day, John Denver the next, Guns N' Roses the day after that. I might go back to some old school rap, some Sugar Hill Gang or something. I'm all over the board. I love music in general. There are certain types of music I'm not a fan of, and they're generally the derogatory music, that speak derogatorily of women and minority groups and speak derogatorily of the police and, the gangster type music. I'm just not a big fan of that, only because I think music should be positive and lift people up. It shouldn't tear people down, and that's my opinion for what it's worth. Hi, Bob. Never knew you had a live show tonight. Hey, Tony Oak Show, buddy. How you doing? Yeah, I just posted it a few hours before the show. Just decided to hang out and answer some questions. And man, it's been a great night. We've done a lot of talking tonight. I think I tried it in the Gatsby. Oh, it won't fit in the Gatsby. Gatsby is definitely a different size. You want to stick with the Sierra style pins. Yeah, the Gatsby's a totally different beast. IAP app is on the Android. I just downloaded it. Thank you, Ned. They do have the IAP app for the Android. I think they said it was 99 cents. I have a classical blasting in my shop. Yeah, every now and then I'll kick a little classical music. It just depends. I'm a big Wagner fan. I love Wagner. I will leave this stream soon. It's night here, and I got exams on Monday. I have to study. That was a very nice stream. Thank you. Thanks a lot, Paul. I really appreciate you hanging out with us. Good luck on your exams, man. I hope you ace them all. Glenn Mackey. Hey, Bob, how you doing? Hello, Glenn. I'm doing really well. Okay, things have slowed down on the chat. Let's jump over and see some of those questions. Thomas Tate, my question is more basic, but also difficult to answer. What was your biggest project failure, and what did you learn from it to improve for the next attempt? Wow, biggest project failure. You know, Thomas, I think I'm going to park that question. I'm going to think about it a little bit, and I think I will bring that up on the next podcast, because we're going to do another Q&A podcast, because that's a great question. And I've had a number of failures, but I don't think any of them have been catastrophic, but there have always been failures, and I learned something. You know, you've seen me where I try to fix my pins when I damage them, and that all stemmed from an accident. I messed a pin up, and I thought I hit my camera and turned it off, and I did not. And I was sitting there talking to myself, because I work alone. Well, I could try this, or I could do that, or if I did, and I just talked myself through it, and I fixed it. And then I went to turn the camera back on to go again, because I was going to say, here's what I'm going to do, or whatever. And the camera was still running, so I looked through the footage, and it was actually pretty good, so I posted it, and people liked it. But that wasn't my biggest failure. That's just where I learned. I learned from all my failures. Failure is a first attempt in learning, is how you fail. F-A-I-L, it's your first attempt in learning. And it's always beneficial. Chris's Gift Shop, what's your next big project? I'm trying to turn a watch casing next. That's pretty cool. Next big project. I don't know. I've been wanting to kind of expand my turning outside of pins a little bit. There you go, another tangent, right? We'll see. I've got some ideas, but I honestly don't know what's going to be next. So we'll just have to kind of hang on for that one. It's a great question, though. Sorry, I just had to post this. Square root of I. Well, the square root of I. I don't know what I is, but I understand the equation, but I don't know what I stands for. So ideas, maybe? I don't know. Just saying hi. Love your videos. Well, hello, Bob. Thank you very much. Chris Walters. Hey, Bob. Sorry I left. I don't know if you saw my question about the chuck. I did. Yeah, I think that's a great chuck. You said you were going to get another one. So, Larry Anderson, have you ever tried turning a bowl from a board? I bet you know I have. This is a walnut bowl that I turned. I never finished it. I need to take the nub off the bottom and clean it up. It's still got kind of a live edge on it. This was done quite a while back, and I just use it. I can't tip it up too much because I just use it in the shop for holding all of my little junky stuff. And that is something that I'd like to kind of get back into a little bit. I've got a bowl gouge, but I've got to get I started reshaping it. Bowl gouges, when you get them, they have a standard shape. And I started reshaping it to the swept back bowl gouge. And I just never finished. The tool started getting hot, and I was afraid I was going to detemper the steel. And so I thought I better learn some more about this. Maybe turn a tobacco pipe. I've been asked to do that before, and I've been asked to turn campers for pipes before. I just have never done it. I don't smoke. I don't know anybody that smokes, so I don't really have any ideas on dimensions or how they work or anything like that. So and I've never had anybody ask me to do it, so it's just kind of not been a tangent that I've jumped off on. I'm not opposed to it. I tend to sell stuff other than pins at craft shows, so looking for other turning ideas. Oh wow, you could do honey dibbers. You could do, bottle stoppers. Bottle stoppers sell fairly well. What I'll do is I make the bottle stoppers, then I'll make the wine glass holders, and I'll have a wine glass with some colored water, or a wine bottle with some colored water in it, and then 2 wine glasses. I get them at the thrift store for 50 cents a piece, nice and cheap, hanging there, and then I'll have the bottle stoppers in front of it, maybe one in the bottle to kind of show them. They sell fairly well. Can I interchange the jaws on it? You can interchange the jaws on your chuck, but you need to stick with that chuck's brand of jaws. Don't take like a Barracuda chuck and try to put Nova jaws on it. That will not work. You got to stick with their brand of jaws. And most chuck companies do sell multiple jaws, multiple style jaws. for pin turning on up to holding larger items. How about a video on how you photograph your pins? Tommy Stridham, my good buddy from Australia, that came up, and I asked him. He is an incredible still life photographer. And I asked him about that, and he's going to put together a video, and I'll link to it when he does, because that's something I want to learn more about. This right here is how I was photographing my pins. My lighting stinks, my angle stinks, my subject matter stinks. I'm not good at it. Tommy was going to put something together. He takes the most incredible pictures on his Instagram, so he's going to do something for us. He's going to help all of us out. I stands for the square root of -1. Okay. The square root of -1 is 1, right? -1 times -1 is 1, right? I don't know. Maybe. Bob, it's been fun. I have to drop off. Okay, Dave. Thanks a lot, man. I appreciate you hanging out with us. Try a lidded box. I've got one. I've turned a lidded box before. Oh, here it is. I think I even did a video on it. This is a lidded box that I turned. Listen to this. You hear that pop? That's a nice tight fit. I think I did a video on that one time. It's not, I didn't really finish it. It's been sanded, but I didn't put a finish on it. And I'd like to turn some more of those. I think I will. I would check out some of Frank Howard's video. Oh my God, Frank's incredible. I watch all of his videos regardless. I mean, he could be fixing up his kitchen and I'm watching it, right? But that guy is amazing. And his videography skills and the way he edits videos is just incredible. They do have turning classes at Woodcraft. My Woodcraft closed in 2013. It's 150 miles to the next closest Woodcraft. Otherwise, I would be at Woodcraft all the time. I wish I had something here that I could, you know, a Rockler or Woodcraft, just some type of a place that I could go and just kind of hang out sometimes and talk to people, meet people. Haven't had much luck with honey dibbers. You know, if you want to sell honey dibbers, you're going to craft shows, find somebody there that makes honey, right? That has bees, that collects it and sells the honey. I have a buddy who did that. And he found a friend and he said, look, I'll sell your honey at my table. So he had the honey dibbers hanging there and he had fresh honey there. People would buy the honey, they'd buy a honey dibber. And that's how he sold his honey dibbers. So you got to kind of cross, it's kind of a collaboration with somebody else, but look for somebody who sells honey, and maybe you put a few bottles of their honey at your table and they put a few of your honey dibbers at theirs, and then you two kind of collaborate and sell. You know, and remember, when you sell something, it's not about the item, it's about the story. That's what's going to sell it, is the story behind it. Making them is LOL. Hi, guys. Hello, Wesley. Douglas, how are you doing? Bob, how about turning a dragon egg? Yeah, that's something I never really got into. I used to watch Heath Knuckles turn these. He would put resin, and he would take like a burl, and he would put resin in the burl, have this great big blob, and he would turn it into a ball, like an orb, and it was beautiful. It looked like a landscape of the moon or something. Maybe one day. I just haven't had an interest in that just yet. It hadn't struck me. It will. Bowl from a board. I don't mean turning a solid thick board, but this process involves segmenting. Oh, yeah, I've been wanting to do some segmenting. I've got that darn, for my table saw, that Incra sled, and man, I made the frame for the inside of my barrel over here for my dust deputy, and it was 8 sections, and they fit together perfect. That thing is so accurate, and I've been wanting to take some blanks and do that, you know, make a nice, like a small bowl or something, or a vessel, but I've got to get a little more practice. And I think you may be talking about where you cut it and you at an angle and then you stack it. I've seen those done on the scroll saw before. Ask Debbie to open a classic nib warehouse in Newburgh. Man, I'd love that. Thanks, man. That was very helpful. And sorry, empty post on the way home. That's okay, man. Those posts, sometimes things get screwed up when you're on the road. I understand that. Dropping off. Thanks for doing this. Been fun. Chris, thank you, man. Great questions. Good hanging out with you, buddy. By the way, be on the lookout for a gator jaw blank. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. All right, we're running a little long. I'm going to go ahead and shut this down because we're about an hour and 15 now. I'll go ahead and shut this down. But this has been fun, and I'll do another one next time I have some free time. Maybe next weekend I'll see what's going on, and we'll see if we can't drop another live out there, because I've enjoyed answering questions with you guys. It's been a lot of fun. Thank you so much for hanging in there. And I've got more questions I need to answer from the questions that came in for the podcast. So you guys, thank you so much. Have a great day, and we will see you guys again real soon. Remember, you are always welcome in my shop. Bye, guys.